The Reverend D. Alexander Bullock. Pastor Bullock is back with us. He is the founder and national spokesperson for the Change Agent Consortium, ActionCAC. You can find it over at Facebook, facebook.com/ActionCAC. And his Twitter is DAlexanderB or at ActionCAC. And Pastor Bullock, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Good to be on the program today.
Thanks for joining us. I thought this was a fascinating topic, and thanks for joining us about this. There was a newspaper, and I don't have it right in front of me. You're going to have to remind me where it was. And
the West Village News.
Okay, and what state was that out of?
Out of New York.
Oh, out of New York City. Okay.
Yeah.
And they published an editorial that talked about the N-word, and they used the N-word. They spelled it out in the White House, and it was actually kind of a pro-Obama op-ed decrying the racism that's being directed against Obama, but it was a white guy who wrote it, a white guy who published it, and they're using the N-word in the headline. And then there was a black guy who wrote an op-ed that they put on the same page right below it saying, the headline above offends me. And you had a take on this. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, just initially appalled, almost saddened and shocked at the same time. We've tried to do so much work in the African-American community to get folks to stop using the N-word, both within the community, definitely outside the community. And so to see this as a headline, the N in the White House, really, I think, set us back. Why use a racial slur to characterize the president, even if it is to present a mirror of the racism that still exists in America? Maybe just use that as the title. Racism still exists in America.
Or what about a headline that says the N-word, N-W-O-R-D, in quotes, in the White House?
Or that as well. As I agree. I think here you have good intentions, but going bad. Yeah. To characterize the first African-American president in any way, for whatever reason, using the N-word, I think is just inappropriate and sets us back.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And in fact, I was pleased to see that a lot of newspapers that did stories about this story, when they reproduced a photograph of that page, blurred out everything after the N in the N-word. Increasingly in our culture, that word is kind of falling into the category as the F word or the S word, or and there are similar racial slurs against other ethnic groups that, although they don't, and appropriately, I think, they don't carry the visceral force that the N-word does, because the N-word really was part of the tradition of slavery. It was the otherization of people of color, and then the use of that to literally kill them, to own them, to buy and sell them.
No, that's right. I mean, look, when you think about the N-word, you're thinking about lynching. You're thinking about separate and unequal. You're thinking about slavery. You're thinking about segregation. And I understand why someone would want to bring attention to the fact that the president is seen as an outsider. African Americans still have to contend with institutional racism and race prejudice in America. But I think using a racial slur to try to move us past racism is bad strategy at best. And it is ignorant at its worst. Right. And we just can't tolerate anything that's going to set us back. We've made so many gains in this country. We don't want to set the tone or make anyone think that it is ever appropriate to call the president or any other African using the N-word in any way.
I would say the other group that we should respect at this level, but we don't, is Native Americans, because they suffered a genocide also. And the name of the Washington, D.C. team is pretty damn offensive, and increasingly people are refusing to use that word, and I think that that's a good thing. I opened this hour by talking about how Ted Cruz and Mitt Romney are both running for the Republican presidential nomination, or it appears that they are. And Ted Cruz's father has basically said that he's going to be John the Baptist. He's going to, usher in the new age. And there's this white horse prophecy in Mormonism that suggests that Mitt Romney would be the John the Baptist, and a Mormon presidency would usher in the new age. And Mitt Romney kind of poo-pooed it himself on the campaign trail, but it still was a big deal in the Mormon community. And I mentioned this, and somebody called up and said, "Oh, how can Ted Cruz be running? He was born in Canada. His father's from Cuba. He's not a natural-born citizen." And I said, that rule only applies to black people. That was just, that Jerome Corsi and WorldNet Daily, that whole birther thing, and Donald Trump that ran for 4 years, that whole birther thing was really just a way of saying, hey, have you noticed that that guy in the White House is black? Holy cow, he's different than the rest of us. And I'm curious your thoughts on that. Because I said, I don't think it's going to apply to Ted Cruz. I don't think you're going to hear a peep out of the Republican Party.
No, I think you make a great point. It's amazing that, if we talk about the N-word, we talk about being black, right? And you talk about slavery, black folks weren't persons. I mean, that's the history. Right. We're not a part of the original American democratic experiment. And so the talk about President Barack Obama, he's an outsider, where's your birth certificate? Is he really an American? I mean, that's consistent with the myth of racism that has been perpetuated in this country. And of course, that has only applied to African Americans. It does not apply to others. So I think you've got the right read on that. And that's why in this context, continuing to resurrect these racial slurs just does not help us move past this kind of racial prejudice.
Yeah. Are you finding in the African American community that there is starting to be a substantial pushback against the N-word?
Oh yeah. It's amazing. Even the hip hop community is feeling the heat. A number of entertainers use the N-word or some version of it in their music. Nicki Minaj most recently had a picture of Malcolm X on the cover of one of her latest song on her new album. Lot of feedback saying, hey, take Malcolm X off of your album. How can you use the kind of language that you use and be connected to the civil rights movement? So we're finding that across the board, people do not want to see these racial slurs used at all.
The one thing we didn't talk about is Detroit. I'm going to have to get you back. Pastor D. Alexander Bullock, he is leading some just amazing work in Detroit, and you need to get over to facebook.com/ActionCAC to see what that's all about. I'm sorry we ran out of time. Pastor Bullock, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Good to be on the show.